Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. Well, I'm going to go back and talk about our tournament, the Big Bass Blowout, but not to promote the Big Bass Blowout or even to talk about all the fish that are caught. But one of the things that can happen when you go fishing is not only could you hook a fish, but you might hook yourself. And so now here's the story I got. I told you in another report about some of our rising stars in the tournament trail, husband and wife, Kent and Cammie. And they came in at one of the weigh-ins, and I could see Kent was really worked up. And so I started talking to him and find out what was going on. He said, you wouldn't believe what just happened out there. He said, we were fishing, and another boat started to go by us fast and then turned back. And it was another group of anglers they were competing against, and the guy in the boat had driven a 5.0. Now 5.0 is a great big hook. It's one of the biggest ones we normally would use for anything in freshwater fishing. He'd driven that 5.0 hook all the way into the meat of his hand, and it was buried. The barb was completely in there. He was in unbelievable pain, and he didn't know what to do. In fact, this team was from Canada. And so Kent goes, okay, I'll try to help you. Kent said, I'd never done it in my life. I had never. But I'd seen my father do this when I was younger. And I knew other old-timers had done this before, because when we're fishing a lot and you're casting and hooking and you grab a fish and the fish yanks its head one way or the other, the power in their jaws is far more than you might know, and the power as they shake their head is incredible, and they could shake that hook right into you. Well, something like that had happened. And so now how do you get it out? Because what keeps a hook in a fish is a barb on that hook, a barb that gets into the flesh, and when you try to pull it out, it's going the opposite way. So it just pulls the tissue out. It's horrible. But this technique, and I can't tell you how to do it, but what I can tell you, if you go online and research and say whatever the keywords might be, how to get a hook out of a person's hand or something like that, you will be able to find how to do this. But what Kent had to do, he says to the guy, you got some really heavy braided line. And the guy says, I've got some 50 or 60 pound. Kent says, that'll be good. Cut me off a length of that. Then Kent wrapped the line around his one hand 4 or 5 times. Then the line was tied to the curve on the hook. And then Kent says, okay, now I'm going to pull. The guy says, I can't watch. Kent says, okay, turn away. And Kent says, I did what I remembered in my mind seeing my father do, and I gave it a pull, and it came right out. And what happens if you do this technique properly is it causes the barb to sort of change angles, and it will come straight out of your flesh without tearing into it. It's amazing. It's simple. It's what they do in the hospital. But when you're out on that river, you aren't next to a hospital. And this can help save the day and keep you fishing. I know the guy was in great pain, but his further emotion was a great deal of thanks to Kent for getting that hook out. I think Kent was proud of himself, but I tell you, he should be. I'm not sure I would have done it as well, but it's something you might want to look into, because I'll guarantee you, if you live long enough and you fish enough, it's going to happen to you. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.